Hello everyone, welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Today I'm talking about Mastery Amulets. You know them, you love them, they give you complete mastery over a different school than your own. Now, if you're like me when I was a kid, and most of you definitely were, you trained a secondary school. I don't know if we did this because it just seemed logical or because an NPC told us to, I really am not sure. But what I do know is that it was stupid. Secondary schools are almost never really useful, and once you get past Crocotopia, they aren't useful at all. And the reason for that is that you do not have mastery over another school. So for example, if you're a Death and you trained up storm spells, instead of being able to use, say, Kraken with 2 power pips, you would need 4 pips of any kind to be able to use it. This causes significant problems in where you can't use any spell that's over tier 7, and tier 6 and 7 is ridiculously hard to get to because you need to pass or blade for about 5-6 rounds, right? And it just generally makes it not useful to have a secondary school at all. But this can be overcome and generally fixed with the existence of Mastery Amulets. Mastery Amulets give you a complete mastery over that school, which means you can use their spells for power pips. Before going into what schools can use them, how useful they are, let's go over where you get them, because you can get them from a few places. I think the most common and the generally best place to get them at a lower, not a lower level, but 4 lower levels is from Waterworks. From the Waterworks, you can get them, you can get Mega Snacks, all that, just farm through the dungeon. Realistically, you can get them from quite a few other places as well. I'm not going to go too in depth with them, but you can get them from some other places. And later on, you can get things like Exalted Mastery Amulets from Tartarus and Darkmoor, I believe. And these will give you mastery over the schools, but for a much higher level, you need to be level 100 to use them versus the no level requirement for the normal Mastery Amulets. Now that we've gone over where to get them, how useful are they? Let's get into the crux of this video. Are they useful? What schools are they useful for? Overall, all that. It's definitely hard to label, but I would say generally, Mastery Amulets are not worth it. If you are a Death Wizard looking to use Myth spells, you're not doing it right. And Myth Mastery, generally, you're never going to see anyone doing that because it's just not practical and it's not useful. There's so many better things you could be using in that amulet slot rather than a Mastery Amulet that just, it's not worth it to put one there. But there is an exception to this, as there is for most things in life, and that is a Life Mastery Amulet. Life Mastery Amulets, in my opinion, are the only ones that are ever really worth it. The reason why they are worth it is because it gives you access to a bunch of healing spells, and healing spells can be useful no matter what you are. Is this useful for every school? No, it is not. If you are a Storm Wizard going for a Life Mastery Amulet because you want to heal people, you picked the wrong school, alright? You're not a Storm Wizard. Go back to eating your crayons, alright? Calm down. What schools can use them? In my opinion, the best schools that can use a Life Mastery Amulet are Balance, Ice, and maybe Death. I think Balance and Ice are the 2 most logical ones. My Ice Wizard has a Life Mastery Amulet that I use quite frequently because it's just generally useful as an Ice to have healing spells because you don't really have damaging spells anyway, so it just works good with your defensive type of school. Balance is a similar case, but to a lesser extent. I wouldn't necessarily recommend having it on at all times, but a Life Mastery could be useful. But if you're something like a Fire, Death, Myth, Storm, do not use a Life Mastery Amulet for healing spells. There's so many other useful things that you could be doing with your time. For Death, you're the best support in the game. You're not going to want to be wasting your time using healing spells when you could be doing things like Juju or just generally setting up people with feints and different things like that. For Firestorm and Myth, you're some of the best hitters in the game. Wasting your time healing people rather than stacking blades and hitting is just a horrid waste of time. Just don't do it. Now, in regards to other Mastery Amulets, are they even worth it? I would say no. Really, it's a hard no. Like, there's no reason why you should be using a Fire Mastery Amulet on any wizard, because it's just not worth it. If you're picking a school, use your own spells, unless that is the exception, unless you're using life spells. Now, people may disagree with me in the comments, but I don't think generally they're going to disagree with me a lot. because I think a lot of spells are just not worth it. You need your own role. You need to slot yourself into your own role. And if you're trying to be a healer as a fire, you just picked the wrong school and you need to fix that. So ultimately, how useful are they? Are they worth it? No. If you get one, if you get a life mastery, sure, great, you can use it. But going out of your way to get it on anyone besides maybe an ice isn't worth it at all. So that's going to be it for today. This was a shorter guide type video on mastery amulets. Let me know if you agree with me in the comments below. Are they worth it? I think a hard no. If you disagree with me, let me know. If you ever used one on one of your wizards besides a life one, I'm interested. Let me know. So thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, drop a like, hit the sub button, support me on Patreon if you're feeling generous, and that's it. So adios. Thank you all for watching.